Hi everyone, welcome back to the channel. We literally just got World 2 not too long ago and somehow the developers are already teasing World 3 in +1 speed keyboard escape. Honestly, I did not expect another world to come this quickly, but I'm definitely not complaining because from the sneak peeks we've seen so far, this might be the biggest update the game has ever had. A lot of players are already asking some questions like when is World 3 coming out? What will be the new world look like? Will there be new pets, new items, or even new mechanics added into the game? And today we're going to go over absolutely everything we know so far about the upcoming World 3 update. We'll be talking about all the leaks, teasers, possible releases dates, and even some of my own predictions because trust me, I think this update is going to change the game completely. So if you're excited for World 3 and want to make sure you're ready the moment it releases, make sure to watch until the end because there are some things you definitely don't want to miss. Alright guys, that's enough talking, let's hop right into the video. Alright, let's start with the biggest thing that everyone noticed immediately. So similar with World 1 and World 2, World 3 is very obviously going to have a candy and chocolate theme. From the sneak peeks we've seen so far, there are candies everywhere, chocolate decorations, and a bunch of dessert-themed objects all over the map. Honestly, it kind of reminds me of Candyland because everything just looks so colorful and sugary. And I think this is actually a really smart choice from the developers. Instead of making another generic world, they're creating something that feels completely different from the previous stages. So the moment you enter World 3, you'll probably know immediately that you're in a brand new area. I'm also curious if the candy theme is going to affect the gameplay itself. Maybe we'll get chocolate obstacles, candy themed pets, new items, or even special mechanics that matches the world. Imagine having to run across giant candy bars or escape through a huge chocolate factory. That actually would be honestly so cool. One thing is for sure though, based on the teasers, World 3 already looks like one of those most unique worlds we've seen in the game so far, and I cannot wait to explore this giant candy and chocolate themed map when it finally releases. So the second thing we know so far is that you'll probably need to be at least around level 560 to access stage 2 of World 3. And honestly, that's actually a huge jump, so if this requirement ends up being true, then the developers are basically telling us one thing: to start grinding right now, because if you're still a lower level, you might not be able to experience all of World 3 in day 1. I actually like this requirement because it gives players something to work toward instead of finishing the new world in a few minutes. You'll need to put in some time and effort to unlock everything. It also makes reaching stage 2 feel like a real achievement. So if you're currently close to level 560, congratulations, you'll probably be ready the moment the update drops. But if you're still far away, don't panic, you still have some time to prepare. Start using your 2 times XP boost, join the admin abuse events, and keep grinding because every level counts. I also have a feeling that if stage 2 requires level 560, then the rewards there are going to be amazing. We could be looking at better items, more trophies, higher speed rewards, or maybe even exclusive pets and secrets that only players who reach that level can access. So my biggest advice right now is simple: grind right now, because when World 3 finally releases, the last thing you want is seeing everyone explore stage 2 while you're still stuck trying to level up. So start preparing today so you can experience the entire update the moment it comes out. The third thing that everyone noticed from the sneak peeks is that World 3 seems to require much higher jumps than the previous worlds. I mean, just look at the platforms on the screen guys, they're so far apart from each other compared to World 1 and World 2. Some of these jumps look absolutely insane, and I already know a lot of players are going to struggle when the update first comes out. This basically confirms one thing: you need to keep grinding before World 3 releases. I don't think this is going to be a world where you can just barely meet the requirements and immediately finish everything. It looks like the developers are expecting players to have much higher speed and jump stats this time around. Honestly, I can already imagine players entering World 3 on day 1 trying to make the jumps and then immediately falling because their jump power is not high enough. So if you're preparing for the update, don't just focus on levels, keep increasing your speed, keep buying better items, and keep improving your stats because it looks like mobility is going to be super important in this world. And who knows, maybe these giant gaps between platforms are intentional. The developers might want World 3 to feel more challenging and rewarding compared to the previous stages. One thing is for sure though, if those platforms in the teasers are accurate, we're going to need a lot more jumping power than ever before. So start grinding right now because I have a feeling that World 3 is not going to be easy at all. Another interesting thing that we've noticed from the sneak peeks is that as of right now, World 3 appears to have 6 stages. Now, I want to emphasize the words as of right now because we honestly don't know if the developers are already finished. They could still be building more stages, adding extra content, or keeping some parts of the world hidden from us. 6 stages is already pretty huge by itself, especially considering how big the platforms looks and how much grinding the world seems to require. If every stage is massive and has its own obstacle, then World 3 might already be the biggest world we've gotten so far. But honestly, guys, I would not be surprised if the developers are still working on even more stages. A lot of developers like to keep surprises hidden until the update actually releases, so there's always a chance that what we're seeing in the teasers is not the complete world yet. Imagine if we log in on update day and instead of 6 stages, there were actually 7 or 8 or even more. That would absolutely be insane. For now though, the safest thing to say is that World 3 currently has 6 confirmed stages based on the sneak peeks we've seen, but that number could actually definitely change before the release. So don't be surprised if the developers suddenly reveal even more content because honestly, this update already looks huge and I have a feeling they're still cooking up a new surprises for us. So now let's move on to my predictions because honestly, I think World 3 is going to have way more than just new stages and a pretty candy theme. My first prediction is that we're going to get more mazes and more bosses to run through. If you've played the previous worlds, you know that the developers love adding sections where you have to quickly navigate through a maze or run away from something chasing you. And because World 3 looks so much bigger than the previous worlds, I have a feeling they're going to take these mechanics to the next level. Imagine running through a giant candy maze while trying to figure out which path is correct, or maybe there will be multiple routes, hidden shortcuts, and a secret reward hidden throughout the maze. And then there are the bosses. I honestly cannot imagine a giant candy galaxy world without some crazy boss fight. Maybe we'll have to run away from a giant chocolate monster or even a massive gummy creature chasing us across floating platforms. Since the jump seems harder and the stages look so much larger, I think the bosses are also going to be bigger and more challenging than before. Instead of simple chases sequence, we might have to dodge obstacles, jump across moving platforms, or even survive multiple phases for a boss fight. And honestly, I would actually love to see that. The running sections and bosses are some of the most exciting parts of the game because they make you feel like you're in an actual adventure instead of grinding for speed. So if the developers really decide to add more mazes and bigger bosses in World 3, this could easily become the best world in the game so far. But that's just my prediction. Let me know guys in the comments what you guys think because I have a really good feeling that the developers have something huge planned for us. My second prediction is that World 3 is definitely going to introduce brand new items and honestly I think they're going to be much stronger than anything we currently have in the game. Just think about it guys, the level requirements are higher, the jumps are bigger, the stages seems harder. It would only make sense for the developers to give us better equipment to help us keep up. I would not be surprised if the new items give huge boost, speed, jump power, or even trophies, and because World 3 seems like such a late game area, I also think these items are going to be extremely expensive. So if you're sitting on a lot of trophies right now, my advice is simple, save them, don't spend everything before the update comes out because you might need a ton of currency to buy the new World 3 items. And who knows, the next best item in the entire game might be waiting for us in World 3. And for my final prediction, I think World 3 is going to have a secret room just like what we had in World 2. So if you remember, World 2 had that hidden button that made your character smaller and allowed you to access a secret area. It was such a cool little feature because it rewarded players who explored the map instead of just rushing to the end. Honestly, I feel like the developers are going to do something similar again in World 3. Maybe there will be another hidden button somewhere in World 3 that shrinks your character, or maybe there will be a completely different mechanic that unlocks a secret room filled with reward, trophies, or exclusive items. And because World 3 looks absolutely massive, there are also so many places where the developers could hide secrets. Imagine finding a tiny candy door that only opens if you're small enough to enter, or a secret portal hidden behind one of the giant candy structures. I honestly think it would be a missed opportunity if World 3 did not have at least one hidden area because the previous worlds have already shown that the developers love adding secrets for players to discover. So when the update finally drops, don't just speedrun through all 6 stages, explore everything, click suspicious buttons, check behind walls, and pay attention to anything that looks out of place because I have a feeling that World 3 is hiding a pretty big secret. And who knows, maybe the first player to find that secret room is watching this video right now. And And that's everything we need to know so far about World 3 in the game. Honestly, this update is looking absolutely massive. We have a brand new Candy Galaxy team, huge jumps that are going to require a ton of grinding, at least 6 stages so far, and potentially a bunch of secrets that the developers still have not shown us. Personally, I think this might end up the best world in the entire game. It feels so much bigger, more colorful, and way more ambitious than the previous worlds. And if my predictions are correct, we could be getting new items and maybe even another secret room hidden somewhere in the map. But I want to hear from you guys. What are your predictions for World 3? Do you think we're getting more stages, a secret area, maybe an even bigger boss than before? So let me know down in the comments because I genuinely want to read all of your theories. And if you are not ready yet for World 3, this is your sign to start grinding right now because I have a feeling that this update is going to be pretty challenging. So if you enjoyed this video, don't forget to leave a like and subscribe because we'll be covering all the leaks, secrets, and guides the moment World 3 releases. So turn on notifications so you don't miss any future videos, and who knows, maybe the next time we talk about World 3, it will be already out. So thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you guys in my next video. Good luck because I think we're going to need it for World 3. Bye guys and enjoy.